Okay, good morning, everyone. So, today's topic we will be studying the physiological or environmental stress on different, forest activities. So, let's discuss first what is the stress. Okay, stress, if you talk about stress, so if we have some academic stress or some what you can call कि तुम थक गए हो कभी, then you feel stressed. तो ऐसी conditions हैं where they adversely impact to our thinking process, to the work, or they also create an hindrance in the work process or our daily routines. ठीक है ना? तो stress क्या है? Is a external condition which adversely affect the growth, development, and productivity in terms of the forest yield or different yields. Okay, so what is stress? Stress is external condition which may be adversely affect the growth, development, and the productivity of a particular feature or particular forest or particular yield. Okay, then stresses, they trigger a wide range of plant responses like alter generation, cellular metabolism, changes in the growth rate, and crop yield. Okay, so stresses, they basically have a trigger on a wide range of different plant responses with relations to their alter generation expressions, cellular metabolism, and the changes in the growth rate of the different crops. Okay, so due to stress, different responses in the plant can be triggered. Okay, which is maybe related to their expressions, their metabolism, and their growth, and the different yields. Okay, then these environments, now the environment in which we are talking about the growth, development, and the productivity, these environmental factors affect plant growth and yield related to the maybe impact of different climatic parameters. ठीक है, due to increase or decrease in the temperature. These are the outcomes which are playing an important role in any kind of stress environment. Okay, or it may be the soil of that particular area. Because of different climatic parameters, maybe these soils, they are lacking of the humidity or the moisture content within them, and which may be directly or indirectly hampering the growth of the plants. Okay, and the plant itself. So these are the different environmental factors which may be directly or indirectly affecting the plant growth and the yield rate. Okay, then to produce a good amount of production, it is very important that all the environmental factors should be at optimum levels. Okay, the factors are two types which you have studied in the initial topics of yours, that biotic and abiotic. Okay, which maybe plays an important role in any kind of stress or growth environment. Okay, so abiotic environments, they include the environment, soil, and nutrients, whereas the biotic environments, they includes the insect, pests, or diseases, or different kinds of weeds. So different kinds of infections or pest infections, they are biotic stresses, whereas different kinds of meteorological environment or stress related or nutrient related whatever stress is there, that is abiotic. Okay, in the initial studies we have studied that we have two types of ecosystems, so the biotic and abiotic ecosystems. So whatever conditions are there related to biotic or abiotic, these factors may impact the stress environment. Clear? So stress, got it, That stress is an external condition which may affect the growth, development, and productivity of a particular production or a yield. Then these stress trigger a wide range of plant responses, which are maybe related to the expression of the plant's metabolisms or the rate of the growth and the crop yield. Okay, now these environmental factors affect the plant growth, and the climate, soil, and plant, they play an important role in the plant growth. Then the to produce a good yield, we need a good environmental factors which should act in a optimum levels. And then the factors which are influencing these stresses may be related to the biotic environments or may be related to the abiotic components. Biotic components, they are related to the environmental, uh, soil related or nutrient related things, whereas abiotic are related to the weed, insect, pest, and diseases. Okay, so biotic and abiotic stress can reduce the average productivity maybe by 65 to 87% depending upon the situations. Okay, so if you take a case of these stresses, so biotic and abiotic, they can reduce average plant productivity around 65 to 90%. Okay, so stress, got it. Now we have the next thing, which is the different environment conditions that can lead to different stress environment in the forestry or in any kind of crop production or yield production. Okay, so first is the waterlogging, second the drought, the third is high or low temperature, then excessive soil salinity, then or insufficient mineral in the soil. Okay, different loss of different minerals that also lead to the degradation of soil. Like we are talking about the salinity, we are talking about the alkalinity of soil. Okay, so because of increase of these things into the soil, that leads to the soil degradation. Too much or too little things, different kind of things. Then phototoxic compounds like ozone, that also leads to the different environmental stress conditions on two different forest or yield related activities. Okay, now the factors that determines the plant responses, that may be related to the different species, related to the development of the age of different plants, or related to the genotypes. Okay, so the resistance for plant to stress depend upon the species. Okay, some species are there which can absorb a lot of water into them, and then they can survive in any kind of environment. You can take an example of cactus. Okay, it can survive in any kind of environment. It doesn't require much water. You can take an example of rice. You have to have a large amount of water, then only we can have a good production of rice. Okay, so the different species has different needs of different things for the survival. So the resistance and sensitivity of the plant to stress, it depends upon the type of species, the developmental age. Okay, obviously in the initial stage, either the plants are very weak sort of things, we need to take care them properly, or in the final age or the old age, they are they has to be destroyed in terms of forestry or in terms of. So developmental of age is also an important function where the stresses are dependent upon. Okay, then the moisture. Okay, as you all know that moisture is a very essential for the growth and development of any kind of plants or the forest. Okay, from germinations to its maturity. Okay, till the time the plant is, you know, it's adolescent age up to the old age or the maturity age. Okay, so moisture, this is an essential part of the growth and development of any plant for from generation to its maturity. Water present in large vacuoles and cells provides the turgidity to the tissues, and it is an essential for the physiological processes related to the photosynthesis, growth of cells, tissues, and organs, and ultimately the forms of growth and yield of most of the crops plants. Okay, so moisture is very essential for the growth and the development, as well as water is present in the large tissues, cells which are there in the plant, and they play an essential roles for different processes like photosynthesis, growth of the tissue cells and the different organs within a plant, and finally the growth of most of the plants, they depend on the moisture content. Okay, so if there is a lacking of moisture, then it may be called as the moisture strength. Okay, so water is a paramount factor in determining any distribution of plants or the species on the earth surface. Okay, so water is a predominant factor in determining the distribution of different plant species onto the earth. Okay, we call, you have studied the different forest types. Okay, the dry forest, the deciduous forest, okay, the evergreen forest. So all of these forests have different kinds of moisture content as far as their characteristics are concerned. Okay, but in every types you need a moisture content or the presence of water. Maybe somewhere it is less, somewhere it is high. Okay, the water, where the water is present in abundance amount or evenly distributed, plant growth is very good. Okay, wherever the distribution of water is large, like you see in UP, Bihar, where the Indo-Gangetic plains are there. Okay, the water level is so good that you throw anything, you will have a, you know, lush growth of the different crops. Okay, so wherever the water is in abundance amount or evenly distributed, the plant growth will be obviously very good. But wherever we have a scarcity of water, okay, obviously the production will be decreasing, or we have to go for the plantation or the agriculture of those things where we do not need much water. Okay, so as the precipitation becomes less abundant, less frequent, the forest changes into the grasslands. Okay, first and finally changed into deserts. Okay, so wherever we have less amount of water in case of different forestry activities, you can take an example of different desertic areas. So there the forest, slowly it will start degrading, and then it may convert into the deserts. Clear? Then droughts, being the most important environmental stress, severely impairs the plant growth and the development, limits to the plant production and performance of crop plants more than the environmental factors. Okay, so droughts, this is the most important environmental stress. Why? Because it severely impairs the plant growth and development. Okay, if you go through the definition of the deserts or droughts, okay, so drought is a phenomena where, due to the meteorological parameters, due to the hydrological conditions, a place is suffering from the, lack of different production activities into that areas, and slowly the production reduces so much that no production is, getting from a particular place. Okay, so that particular time span is falls under the drought like condition in a particular area. Okay, and if you have a drought for maybe 10 years, it may convert it into a famine area. Okay, so parameters to measure the water stress are the leaf water potential, the leaf permeability to water loss, and the plant water stress. Okay, so these are different parameters on which we can calculate the moisture stress in a particular environment. Okay, so then effects of the different water stresses. Okay, so firstly, as we have already discussed, that it will lead to the directly affecting the plant growth and development. Okay, so plant growth and development, if there is a stress related to water, it will be directly impacted by the water stress. Then the seed germination and seedlings establishment. Okay, so as you know, the germination process that needs a particular amount of humidity and water content for the germination process. So that also sometimes getting affected by the different kinds of water stresses. Okay, then root shoot ratio, photosynthesis, for that activity also we need a water, and if there is a stress, obviously we will be having effects on these processes. Then carbohydrates and protein metabolism, growth regulators, reproductive development of the different plants. So these are the different effects of water deficit stresses. Okay, so water is a very essential for the plant growth, as we have studied, as far as its physiology is concerned, its metabolism is concerned, and the morphology is concerned. Okay, clear? Now the second stress is a drought. Okay, which is an outcome of the different kinds of water stresses, and due to that, when we have a lack of production in continuous 2, 3, 4 years, then we have a drought like condition in a particular area. Okay, so if you go through the particular definition, no universal definition is there for drought. Different agencies like FAO, then water management organizations, IMDs, Indian Meteorological Departments, and IPCC, they have defined the drought in different definitions. Like FAO in 1983, it defined the drought as a hazard. Okay, the FAO, it defined the drought as a hazard, the percentage of years when the crops fails to form the lack of moisture. Okay, so the percentage of the years, how much is a percentage in terms of the different years when the crop fails due to the lack of moisture content is called as drought. According to the WMO in 1986, drought means a sustained, extended deficiency of precipitation. Okay, so if there is a extended deficiency of precipitation, then it may be directly again impacting the water stresses in the area, and due to water stress there may be the loss of production, and maybe a time will come then there is no production. Okay, so according to WMO, a drought means a sustained extensive deficiency in precipitation. Okay, now according to IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, in 1967, drought is a consequence of naturally reduction in the amount of precipitation over an extended year or time period, usually a season or more in length, okay, often associated with the other climatic factors like high temperatures, high wind, low relative humidity, okay, which can aggravate the severity of the drought impact. Okay, so if you take an example or the definition by Indian Meteorological Department in 1967, they defined drought as a consequence of naturally reduction of the amount of precipitation over an extended periods. It may be a season or more than a season in length. Okay, it often associate with the climatic factors. Okay, now this extended period of precipitation, it may be associated with the different factors, maybe temperatures, maybe high wind, maybe low relative humidity, and finally it aggregates the severity of the drought. Okay, if there is a prolonged period of these prolonged periods of precipitations and continuous loss of the production due to various factors which we have discussed, can be aggravative the severity of drought. हो सकता है कि only 10% area is affected in 1991, but in 92 that 10% is converted into maybe 20% in next year due to the continuously prolonged period of precipitation. Okay, पिछली 91 में हो सकता है the precipitation is around 1500 millimeter, but in 92 the precipitation is also decreased up to 1200 millimeters. Okay, average, and then the continuous loss of moisture content in this soil is also taking place. So the conditions of the temperatures, the conditions of the periods of these precipitation is continuously aggravating every years, and collaborative impact of these factors, this is also getting multiplied, okay, in terms of the production rate, loss of the production rate, and this can lead to drought like conditions as per IMD. Okay, then IPCC in 2014 defines the drought hazard as the period of abnormally dry weather long enough to cause a serious hydrological imbalance. Okay, so according to the IPCC, a period which abnormally dry weather long enough and it is causing a serious hydrological imbalance. Okay, so you have seen that in every definition the lack of water content is there, maybe due to some temperature, some meteorological reasons or some other reasons, and finally it is impacting the production of the crop in a particular area. Okay, so that is your drought. I have tried to give you some definitions which are given by different agencies. Now, there is three types of droughts. Okay, you can categorize these droughts into three classes. You have seen different definitions where somebody has talked about the hydrological losses, where somebody has talked about the agriculture droughts, and some people they have talked about the meteorological reasons. Okay, so the if you take a talk about the precipitation, you talk about the high temperatures, they all are the outcome of the natural climatic variabilities. Okay, so if you talk about the meteorological drought, they are related to the rainfall, temperature, winds, greater sunshines, and less cloud cover. Okay, so if we have conditions where the loss of rainfall or deficiency in precipitation is regularly observed, high temperatures, high wind speeds, low relative humidity, okay, greater sunshine, and less cloud cover is found, then maybe the conditions are of meteorological drought. Okay, so after this, now due to this, if you see, all these are also concerned. If you talk about meteorological, agriculture, or hydrological droughts, they are also associated with each other. Okay, but if there is a soil water deficiency, okay, then it may leads to the plant stress, reduced biomass, and the production that is related to the agriculture droughts. When there is a reduction in the stream flow, inflow of reservoirs, or the lakes and ponds, okay, then it may be a hydrological drought. Okay, getting it? So whenever there is a interference of different meteorological parameters, maybe it is cause of meteorological drought. But if there is a issue related to the soil water deficiency, and due to that different plant water stresses, reduced biomass, and reduced production of the different crops is taking place, then it may be a agriculture drought. And if there is reduced stream flow, inflow of reservoirs is less, or lakes or the ponds is less, then it may be a hydrological drought. Okay, so all the droughts, they are directly or indirectly impacting the socio-economic conditions of a particular area. Okay, so if you see, the first stage is meteorological. Then if this meteorological conditions, they are degraded, or they are the cause of the soil deficiency, and so every drought type is related with the one and another conditions. Okay, so we have hydrological drought, we have agriculture drought, we have meteorological drought. Okay, clear? Then the classes of droughts, where you have seen that the different kinds of phenomena are there, where okay, where the 20% decrease in the average rainfall for a set period of region. So where you can expect a meteorological drought, where the situation is that there is a decrease of 20% in the average rainfall given by the IMD, Government of India. Then there we may have a meteorological drought like conditions. Where we will have a hydrological drought, it occurs when a prolonged meteorological drought resulting into the depletion of surface water, and consequently it is causing the drying of different reservoirs, lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, etc. Okay, so if there is a loss in the average rainfall, obviously different water bodies, they will be having less amount of water. Okay, so obviously the drying of reservoirs, rivers, ponds, that will be happening. And if these water bodies, different surface water bodies, they start drying, okay, obviously they will have a direct impact with the soil moisture content and the different irrigation processes, due to which it may cause to the agriculture drought. Okay, so now you have seen that all the droughts, whether it is meteorological, agriculture, or hydrological, they are associated with each other, and uh, uh, they are causing different kinds of losses to the different produces of the agriculture things. Okay, clear? Now there you have to go for the adaptation of crops to drought environment. Okay, so what we can do for to reduce the vulnerability of different drought like conditions, we have to adopt for different crop structures so that we can reduce the vulnerability of different climatic hazards of these things. So the adaptation is defined as the activity by the individual groups and the governments that aim to reduce the vulnerability and and the impact of climate change and climate related risks by maintaining or increasing the adaptive capacity of the different system resilience. Okay, so in case of adaptive capacity, the ability of a system is to adjust the climate variability and the extremes to moderate potential damages, to take advantage of different opportunities and cope up with the different consequences. Okay, now vulnerability. What is vulnerability? In any kind of drought, you need to first study the hazard, that how much is area is being affected by a particular phenomena. If we are talking about drought, so what area in terms of the spread is sensitive to the drought? Vulnerability is a degree. Okay, how sensitive it is, very high or very low or moderately high. So the degree to which a system or a society is susceptible or unable to cope up with the adverse conditions of different phenomena of disasters is called as the vulnerability. So the degree or the susceptibility of a particular phenomena, okay, is called as the vulnerability. Whereas hazard is a spread, related to the spread, that how much area is under threat. Then the resilience, the ability to absorb the disturbances, to be changed and then to reorganized and still have the same intensity, is the resilience. Okay, clear? So we have to adapt for different programs where we can reduce the vulnerability, where we can go for the different resilience related activities. Okay. So drought, stress, maybe it can have a physiological responses which may be related to the recognition of root signals, loss of the different turgor and osmotic activities, reducing of leaf water potentials, decrease in the different amount of CO2, etc. Then biochemical responses and the molecular responses. So these are the different stresses under the drought stress. Okay. So with this, I think I will be concluding my talk, that we have tried to cover here the different this thing, stresses, which may includes the loss of water content and the drought activities. Now the waterlogging and the alkalinity salinity part we will be studying in tomorrow's class. Okay, now you all can appear for your quiz. With this, I am ending my today's talk. Thank you.